Hi, I'm
Let's
Kevin
go.
Hawkins, the Real AI Guy. I'm a partner with Ray Group, and we're here today with some fantastic folks who are going to talk to you about AI and in particular Agentic AI, which is probably the biggest revolution that we've seen in AI since ChatGPT debuted. So I'm sure going to get a lot of information today. Just quick background on me. I am an author of a book called The Real AI Guide for Real Estate Agents. It's a best-selling Amazon book. I also write a weekly newsletter with my oldest son about AI for the real estate industry and have for the last 3 years called Real AI. And now I'm going to ask everybody else introduce themselves.
I'm Brian Hoyleman. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Lofty. Thank you for having me here today and allowing us to sponsor this webinar. Looking forward to talking about the future of how AI is going to power through Agentic AI with this group here. And we have some great panelists as well. Whitney.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Whitney LaCosta. I'm the president and broker owner of Howard Hanna Coach Realtors on Long Island. We have about 700 agents, and we service mostly all of Long Island.
Hi, I'm Tammy Bonnell. I'm the co-chair for Exit Realty Corps International. We have about 600 offices across North America, and I'm excited to be here.
Well, that's just fantastic. It's good to see everybody. Oh, by the way, the reason I wear a Hawaiian shirt, people always ask me about that. If you're in the world of AI and talking to real estate agents, they often are afraid of AI. And we're going to talk a little bit about AI adoption. And have you ever been afraid of anyone wearing a Hawaiian shirt? You know, we want to make AI very accessible and very approachable for every agent because it's such a powerful tool. And Brian, you're the sponsor of this webinar. Brian from Lofty, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you all are doing?
Yeah, thank you for that, Kevin. I'm Brian Hoyleman. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at Lofty. And this webinar is probably one of the more important webinars that we've done. It's really in introducing Lofty and Agentic AI and letting everybody kind of learn more about how we are learning how to deploy these agents and AI agents to make businesses more efficient, more lead-centric, follow-up. The problem that we see in the industry is about how to stitch everything together in the one operating system and have AI kind of work for the agents, taking away all that noise and how they operate their business in a more ecosystem-friendly operating system, as opposed to kind of, I put my CRM where my leads are there and they just kind of store. We really want to open this up to an operating system and have agents and brokers learn what they need to look at, what questions they need to ask so they understand how this all comes together in the future where this market is going with AI, stitching everything together. I'm really excited about the panelists that we have here and looking forward to this discussion. Thank you so much for the introduction, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Brian. I think it's really cool what Lofty is doing. We're going to talk a little bit about AI with some great panelists. I'm going to go to Whitney first to answer the question. What are agents in your office using AI for every day today?
Yeah, I think that my agents run the gamut, right? They're the agents that are just dipping their toe in the AI world and using simple things, ChatGPT, to write an email. And then we have the other extreme of agents that really have jumped in both feet and are using AI from everything from lead generation to lead follow-up, to organizing their days, to goal planning, and are really doing some fun and exciting things with AI. And it really runs the gamut for everything in between.
Tammy, you've got a lot of agents you're supporting. How are they using AI?
Well, you know, I have to say the same thing. There are people that are just putting their toe in the water and sending out emails and doing flyers and brochures for their listings. But then we have people that are doing everything from contracts, marketing, public relations, data, research, collaboration. You know, they've literally got a personal assistant out of the people that they're utilizing for, out of what they're utilizing for AI.
Now, are you utilizing AI at the brokerage level, or are there things you're doing in terms of implementation at your organization level?
We actually have an engagement leader that she actually speaks English, Spanish, and technology. And
multilingual.
And we've had her make herself into a hologram. So there is an engagement leader in each office so that they're breaking things down really simply for all of the agents so that it's palatable regardless of what their experience level is. And that's really helped considerably in getting people dialed in.
Whitney.
Yeah, we are using it from simple things like Tammy said, education, and really helping the agents in that way to training, and also at a higher end in our website, using AI for people that could drill down in their searches beyond just the simple searches that we are used to in the past, and people being able to say, I want a white kitchen, and being able to bring everything and do a search and find all the properties that have a white kitchen. So really drilling down and making their search experience more tailored to them and what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's a huge trend in AI, this whole natural language search capabilities that websites are having. It just is so much more engaging for the user, so much easier than all those little pull downs, you know. It's not a fun thing to try to find the right house, but when you can talk to your AI and tell it what you want and it can deliver that's a much better consumer experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's fun.
And And Brian, you're doing some of the funnest stuff. Speaking of fun, you're doing some of the funnest stuff right now. And that is you're watching how AI is changing the industry, where it's come from and where it's going. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I love what Wendy said, and Tammy. What happens is we have to connect search to settlement. So we have to connect the consumer experience for all your friends, your family, the people you know, and create a dynamic search experience where you can have AI look up and, hey, I want a pool, I want this, I want that, and it do a dynamic search, and then connect that search experience in the nurture. When you have thousands of leads in your database, you can't watch all those fishing poles at one time. So you really need a sales agent, and we call agents of AI agents, to kind of watch and keep those leads coming in a way that they're being nurtured. I like to say we want to keep them alive. We want to keep those heartbeats and excited going and make the agent the center of that relationship, but use AI to watch and keep that. So that idea of searching and then connecting to qualification, making sure that they're getting qualified so the agent can jump in at the right moment without having to feel like it's, push marketing and they're, annoying the lead. We want to keep them really active. And I think what Whitney and what Tammy said is important. And then from that point, then we move them over to that relationship long-term. And then we move into how we transact and all of this stuff. And you expect an agent, that's what the problem's been for years. Now we're opening the door for to hire a workforce for different segments of the business that works all of those opportunities for the agent. So they just feed in their database and leads. There's homeowner, all of this, homeowner AI, all of this stuff.
Right.
Take it away. Take all of that workload away and just have a workforce do that for agents and have the system feed in to that is really where the AI is going. And it's interesting because it's evolving so fast.
Exactly. And Whitney and Tammy, you're at ground zero with all this. I mean, you're living it every day, right? Your agents are using things, trying new things, experimenting, trying to figure it out. And we really have kind of, like you said, a broad range of like people putting their toe in the water and people really leaning in 100%. With this thing that Brian's describing, this agentic AI, do you see that that's really going to be a boost for you all in terms of the time savings and what it could do? Because this is a whole new exciting era for real estate when agents are freed up from doing the grunt work and they've got a virtual assistant who can do some of this stuff. That's sort of what we're talking about. Tammy?
I think it's honestly life-changing to get all the B, C, and D priorities out of your way so you can focus on the A priority of nurturing those relationships and being that trusted advisor and not letting anything fall through the cracks. And I think, one of the things that's so important, because we are in a relationship business, is to make sure to remember that we need to personalize this as much as humanly possible. We need to make sure that we're really dealing with that human being. When you remember something about someone, you literally let off the trust hormone in them, oxytocin, that makes them trust. And they want to work with a trusted advisor, right? They want to be with someone that they know, like, and trust. So I think it's really important to have all of this to stay on track and not let people fall through the cracks and end up with a lifetime client, right? It's not a customer anymore. It's a lifetime client that we want to be able to hang on to. But you need to make sure that it is as personalized as humanly possible. So hanging on to the meaningful work yourself and letting this do all of the other B, C, and D priorities, I think, is ideal.
And Whitney, your observation on how this can change things?
Yeah, just what Tammy said, one of the biggest fall throughs for agents is lack of follow-up, right? There is a reason why statistically so many sellers do not use their agent when they, or buyers use their agent when they go to sell their home, is because that agent's lost contact with them, right? Even that, just the basic CRM, but this gives an opportunity for agents not to lose that connection. And that is a game changer for agents. I find in our business, and probably in life in general for all of us, there is a huge gap between idea and execution for all of us. Think about, they say that every single one of us has, in some point, has had a $7 million idea. The fact is, and only a small group of people ever make their idea into fruition, actually comes to life. And that's the same thing for agents. There's this real big gap between ideas or thoughts or intent and execution. And where AI is going to make the biggest difference is in making that gap and making it smaller, or even eliminating that gap. So, for agents out there that are either not very good with follow-up, agents that have, have ideas but don't know where to start and don't know how to do it, this is the solution. And so this is the opportunity for agents to be more proficient at maybe the skill sets that they maybe are not good at. And that's where I think it's a great tool.
Brian, two things. One, let's level set for everybody and tell the difference between what we're talking about here, which is agentic AI, where things are done on your behalf and act for you, and where we've been so far with most agents using traditional or generative AI chatbots, which we ask them something and they respond. Outline that, and then go back to both Whitney and Tammy's point, how AI really helps solve that orphaned client problem that agents face.
So, the difference between, say, where we are with chatbots and kind of writing content is very surface level, not deep level, hiring an actual agent or a body or a workforce. Agentic AI is really a playbook. Think about a playbook that has to bring in all of these different elements into one management. So if you think about an AI agent that does all your transaction management, all that stuff that brokers are paying $200-300 a month for somebody to perform a whole transaction, your AI agent is your transaction manager agent that brings in all the data points from different levels of your business into one ecosystem playbook to run that on behalf of the agent. You tell it what to do and it learns how you want to run that individual agent. So it's hiring a workforce. Agentic AI is your workforce that you deploy. And there's different playbooks for different workforce. You have like a sales agent, sets up your appointments, manages all of the search and the consumer's engagement, brings in content from outside of things like, hey, I'm looking for probate. Well, then maybe there's content we bring in for probate sales and things like that. So you're hiring a sales agent to work your sphere, or your homeowner agent that works all of your conversion for sellers and home reports. So Agentic AI is a much deeper level agent that runs the business of the things that you don't have time to do. And so you have a workforce. If you're a broker, you might have a enablement that Tammy's talking about, that's making sure your agents are being working their leads the right way and holding them accountable and overseeing how company leads. So Agentic AI is a much more deeper level actual workforce that stitches a bunch of different things together into one operating system. And so it's moving away from CRM. It's moving to operating system that integrates a lot of different APIs and into one workforce. I hope that's, it's almost impossible to do.
We're really creating an infrastructure, right? We're really creating a system that can help us, just like we hire a virtual assistant to do things. We're creating one that is AI based that can do a lot of these tasks. And Whitney and Tammy, there's, AI where we are today, one of the biggest barriers still is adoption, right? I mean, you still, according to the NAR, have about a third of the agents who in the last year haven't used AI. Now, that might not be true to your individual brokerages because you're doing a lot of things in the AI space, but we know nationally that's a pretty accurate statistic. So how do we get through that AI adoption? What can we do, Tammy, to help agents become more comfortable with AI? And then when agentic AI becomes an option, it's an easier transition for them as well.
My favorite quote from Tony Robbins is, information without implementation equals poverty. And we're not going to get all of the people, and we can get into a whole long chat as to why that is, because of, there being different standards in each state for taking tests and becoming part of it. And that's way too long and drawn out. There are people that are willing to be here and willing to be proactive and people that aren't. But I think that you need to share with them the examples. And it's twofold. Share with them the examples of what's working, and so that they have validation that it does work and it is giving them more free time. But also, what would they do with that free time? Are they going to generate more revenue and make more money in less time and be more effective so they have a better quality of life? How can we make it more meaningful for them? And the more meaningful we make it, the more likely they are to adopt it.
Whitney?
Yeah, no, I think, AI, you have to help them understand the why. Right. Mm-hmm. And for them to understand that AI is an accelerator and not an objection. And right to Tammy's point is, okay, the why is okay, you're going to have more time, more efficiency, and that is going to get you more business, make you more money, help you do the things in your life that you want to do. You have to get them to understand the why, and then you have to model it, and you have to teach them. And if you do those things, then the adoption will come.
That's a great point about modeling it. One of the things that I've discovered in the real estate brokerage industry is sometimes brokers are having other people do their AI for them. They're actually not using the AI themselves. And I think it's important for all of us to kind of do this on our own, to get comfortable and understand it and see both its potential and the limitations, so that you can understand how it really implies. Tammy, saw you shaking your head on this.
Well, I think that it's so important to be able to lead by example. Our director of engagement, Annette Anthony, she literally teaches the brokers with their devices in hand, so they're doing it live. It's always learn it, do it, teach it. And then the brokers learn first, because a lot of times the broker's objection is truly that they don't understand it, so they don't want to go any further. But if they understand it first, when it's taught to the agents, they're much more likely to share it. And I think that you have to lead by example. So it's always, learn it, do it, teach it, and then you'll have actually adopted it.
I would love to. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Brian. No, I was going to say that's such great advice. I was going to go to you.
So, for everybody on this, and I agree with everybody. And you're right. You said model it. What really, and we deal with the top agents that really know the business. They're in there, right, Tammy? Your top agents, they're working it, they're doing their thing. But there's 70% of agents that are the ones that are afraid of adoption. That if we can get 4 to 5 extra transactions, 1 or 2 per quarter, it doubles the GCI of every broker if you get the majority of agents. Right?
I was just going to say, it's even when you can show them some examples, and those examples of, right now, Exit is celebrating its 30th year in September, right? That will have been in business for 30 years. Thank you. And so sharing with everybody that we have a goal of growing 30%, but actually having an agent sit down and do the math. If you end up with 30% more income, 30% more transactions, what would change in your life? What would you do with that difference? And once they start to make it more meaningful, and they see that there's something, I'm going to be able to take my family on a trip I couldn't take them on before. I've been visiting our top offices, and one of the gentlemen last week came up to me and he was in tears, and he said his mom passed away a couple years ago. His dad has always wanted to go on a cruise, but his mom had motion sickness, so they never went. And he said, I just made up my mind. I'm going to spend quality time with my dad, and I'm going to take him on a cruise wherever he wants to go every year. And that's the first thing he's going to do. So he's going to stick with it now, right? And I think that really finding out what's really meaningful to them and showing them what that difference can be and giving them those examples will just be huge.
I would love. Oh, go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask Whitney. I was going to ask Whitney, and then you go, Brian. I was going to ask Whitney to talk a little bit about that, because that whole time savings proposition, it does mean different things to different people, right?
Absolutely. But going back, it's not the tool that determines the outcome. It's the leadership around the tool that determines the outcome. So you can't just say, here's a tool, let's throw it on the shelf and hope people use it and hope they figure it out and learn it. you have to, as the leadership of an organization or a company, have to figure out how to get to the agent where they're at and make the tool accessible, make the tool simple, make the tool have support, because technology without support, we know agents then get frustrated and don't use. So I think that it's really, as a leadership of an organization, what are you doing now, right now, in order to implement technology for agents that is as simple as possible, and turn it into best practices? Because the sooner you make it best practices, it becomes standard practice.
Yep, that's
And
a great point.
Hodgepodgey here, there, kind of use it here, kind of use it there. It has to be, and it has to be made into best practices, then become standard practice. And if you go back to, I don't want to age myself or date myself in this business, but there was a time when, you go back and look at examples, simple things like, once upon a time, we used to get listings on a piece of paper. Okay. And then became computer MLS. And if you made it a practice to teach agents how to use the computer, then they were able to learn how to use the MLS, and it made it simpler. Agents were getting information faster. They were servicing their buyers and sellers faster in a more meaningful way, so their experience was better. So it's going back to model it, use it, make it simple.
Well, Brian's going to tell me he's got the easy button.
That's where I want to go with this, guys. We are churning, Whitney, we are churning back the clock to the way real estate should have been done. We got into the mode of lead gen, guys. Pay-per-click, lead gen, trying to connect with people that don't want to talk to agents. They just want to shop, and it was very hard. And the way that everything is pushed right now with the commission lawsuit, all of this putting agents at the center of the deal, we have to go back to playbooks that work and push button opportunities. And so if I want to create a system that agents through Agentic AI is, they want a button they push, and it just does that, and there's a result to it, and it's use case based. So to your point, Whitney, I want to do an open house. Well, then push the button and it does your open house flyer. It does your single property website. You push the button. You don't have to build it. Agents don't want to have to do those things. So Agentic AI is about those playbooks, Whitney, and all of the things that you have, and just start with what every agent should do. There's always going to be what you can do and train to can do. What you should do should be a universal thought that your agents deploy for the business, the basics, open houses, transaction management's a time suck. And you have your agents marketing and social media posts and blog posting. All of those things now can be done with an automatic AI agent through Lofty. And I hope all the other tech stacks will end up kind of creating this operating system that is a playbook with the outcome deliverables where it's push button and deployed. Don't learn, just outcome, push button, go.
Right. And to Tammy's earlier point, because I know she's going to want me to cue this up for her. That all sounds great, but we also want to make sure, and I know you agree with this too, Brian, that it's still the personality and the persona of the agent that is putting out this information. That if we lose the personality of that agent through this process, it's not going to be adopted by the agents. But Agentic AI can do that. And Tammy, I just want you to let Tammy voice that a little bit, because she did such a good job of talking about how this is really a key part of all this in terms of agents being successful with AI.
Yeah, I think we're in the attachment economy. We used to be in the experience economy. And so people wanted to have experiences, right? And then we were in the attraction economy, social media, but we're in the attachment economy. And people want to be part of something better. They want to feel connected. So we need to make sure that the agents feel like they're doing this meaningful work, which they are, and that they're really making a difference in these people's lives. People move because of circumstances, right? It's personal. They're making money, they're losing money, they're becoming an empty nester, they're getting married, they're getting divorced, all of those things. And so we need to make sure that that person stays with their skill set and stays an expert and literally get them to understand that this is going to make it easier for them to do that. They're actually going to have more time to become better at what they do. I don't believe in I liked your stepping back in time, Brian, but I think it's not even necessarily just stepping back in time. It's going back, not back to basics, going back to what you know works and what you know will continue.
I agree 100%.
Whitney, please chime in on this because it looks like you've got something really good to say.
Yeah, they say that a real estate transaction is up there as far as stress levels for people, up there behind divorce, bankruptcy, some of the most stressful things that you ever experience in your life. And AI can do a lot of things, but it not yet can deal with the personal emotion. And that's where we are experts. That's where we prove our value and our worth in guiding people through one of the toughest or emotional transactions. They're dealing with something that your home has such intrinsic value that some people can't put a dollar sign on it, or that intrinsic value doesn't have a dollar sign. So, that's where Tammy's right on. It's getting back to what we are and what we're good at and what the value that we have. And it's guiding people through those transactions. AI and Brian and all the amazing things that he's doing is going to help us be able to do that more and have more meaningful connections with people. So we're not wasting our time sitting in offices in front of computers doing all the things that we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. So Brian, AI really could be amplify our intelligence or amplify our personalities. It's really not replacing us. It's really taking what we do and to talk to that.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just right before I came here, I was here at the conference here for leading RE, and I talked to a broker. He had 700 agents, and everything that Tammy and Whitney and everything on this conference that we're talking on this webinar was voice. Simple, easy, personal, relationship. How do you do it? And they want to learn. So what I would say to you is that the whole agentic AI is to do that at an agent level through the broker down. At the end of the day, every agent has their own AI and have it own, and it personalizes based on what you want. You can give it advice. You can tell it what you like. I don't like the way you said that. It says this. You don't build it. It learns from your everyday experience, and it speaks in your voice. It's an extension of you. And agentic AI is an extension of you to where you deploy your agent. So I don't want agents to have to feel like they have to build something or they have to work. AI is to take away work, not give you a job. And if I can get that message to here and how you deploy it, it's about feeding the AI to extend your personal relationship opportunity in the segments of the business that grow and create revenue streams for that agent. It's what it is. It's the extension of you. And that's what agentic AI at the heart is it allows you to be you to your personal relationships that you build through all of the different segments in the business that cost a lot of work and distractions. So then you don't follow up and you lose deals. We don't want that. That's the problem. And we want to solve that. So we want to extend you to every part of the business in the most easy, simple way, and also get away to friction, away from the consumer to close. All that friction and anxiety, how do we make that go away? And that's where agentic AI is going to really stitch up the relationship, putting that handshaking and personalization back into this space.
So both of you, Tammy and Whitney, have been in this industry long enough and been working with agents long enough to know that one of the challenges right now, historically, is technology has found itself in the position of always saying kind of what AI is saying right now. We're going to be saving you time. We're going to make you more productive. We're going to make you more money. That's been the big ploy for agents to adopt new technology since technology started in the real estate industry. What AI argue as an AI advocate is different in that it actually can deliver these things. But isn't that an inhibitor, Whitney, to agents adopting AI and embracing it?
Well, I think you're right. There's always been a shiny penny. There's always been a promise that there's a product out there and there'll always be another product that's going to turn their business into, upside down and make them millions. Time and time again. And I think for agents, sometimes it's fear of being able to use the technology. And if you remove that fear, they're more likely to embrace it and to see how it can work in their business. You're going to have the agents that are afraid of it and are going to be resistant. And we've seen that with all technologies and the simple things like your CRM. Let's go back in time. Let's go back probably close to 20 years when CRMs first came out. And there were agents that dove right in and put all their contacts in and were having follow-up, and it was working for them. It was working lead generation. It was doing everything they needed, and they were ahead of the curve. And then you had agents that were resistant for one reason or another, didn't use it, didn't want to learn it, didn't have the time. They had every excuse why not to engage in a CRM. And eventually they start to see, and but they are going to be behind the curve. And that's the curve, the wave of agents and technology. There's a bunch that are ahead and there's a bunch that are they're gonna come in the second or third wave, but they'll come along after they've seen that there's proven results. But they first have to see that there's proven results before they're willing to take the leap of faith and jump into the technology.
Tammy?
Yeah, there's early adopters, right? All of us have witnessed websites with coming soon and all the things that people were doing, that it was a work in progress, under construction, people selling some sort of technology before they were even finished with it. Oh, the second phase will be better than the first phase. So we saw some frustration. I loved your analogy, Whitney, of the shiny penny. I call it, with a lot of the things that we're seeing even going on with controlled chaos out in the industry today, a lot of that is shiny penny syndrome, but it actually costs more than a penny to make a penny. So it's not very sustainable, right? And there's just way too many distractions, but there'll be the early adopters that will prove that it works. And it really is all about making sure that you're efficient. All of us have one of these, and right? And it's a time suck for most people. And they keep going down that crazy rabbit hole, and that's not a healthy place to be. But if we look at and give them the actual facts, that 67% of people will trust the advice they get from AI on who to use for an agent. 82% are starting their home searches using AI. So we're not Googling it anymore, right? We've already shifted the way our behavior is, and we have to meet consumers where they are. It's not about what it is that's comfortable for us. It's meeting consumers where they are and meeting all of our people where they are. The same with agents that aren't early adopters, right? Getting them to put their toe in and getting them to try something. We spend 20% of our time getting 80% of our results. So if we could literally know what that 20% is and go out and do more of it, and let all of these things that we're not necessarily good at be handled behind the scenes, we just got to keep showing proof. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it is definitely happening around all of us.
Well, it's really interesting, Tammy, that you have these engagement people, because we know the history in real estate offices that brokers always have somebody, or agents always have somebody in their brokerage office or in their organization that they look to as to being the tech person, right? They watch what they're doing, right? Don't they, Whitney? Isn't that true? They watch what they're doing, and then they see how successful they're, and they go, hey, can you show me how to use that? The cool thing about AI in the very beginning, real estate was no longer a lagging industry. Real estate adopted ChatGPT like overnight. Agents saw the instant value that you talked about, both of you, in that getting that, I'm going to put some time in, I'm going to get more time out of it, routine was instant with AI. It's going to get exciting now, because I think a lot of agents who were always fearing new technology are now all of a sudden, because of their use of ChatGPT out of the gate, are going to be a little bit more receptive to some of the new things. Do you think that's true, Brian? Do you think there's a direction here? And I'd be interested in Tammy and Whitney's chiming in about how that dynamic is changing in the office in terms of those tech people who everybody seeks out.
Yeah, I think this is the most exciting time for real estate ever. I mean, I look at real estate and all the shiny objects.
And we're here to see it.
Yeah. And I look at, we think about agentic AI, but I always look at it as shiny object syndrome. And I think of the golf industry because it comes out with every little gadget that you can make golf better. But at the end of the day, no one's actually a caddy.
There's an AI putter, Brian.
I know. So, so I think of, when we think of agentic AI, it's really a caddy for those things in your business that you need help. and giving you direction and helping you do all this. It's teeing up the ball, it's carrying your golf clubs, it's making sure that you focus on hitting the golf ball and do the right things and not having to learn everything about golf. And so it's the ultimate cheat code. And that's kind of what this topic is about. What is your cheat code to business? AI is a cheat code to relationships for really in agents. It's the cheat code. And how you as an agent deploy your agentic AI agents to cheat for you and give you that time and effort is really what this is about. And I'm excited about this because there's two things that come out of this. One is we have AI, agentic AI going forward and within our operating systems. We now have data that's accessible in a very dynamic way to provide consumers that there's no way an agent can do all of that. And then the third thing that we have that's really, really exciting about this is we have the ability to do all of this so agents can talk to people in real life and have conversations with people they don't know, but they feel that they know them because they made it personal about their life. And that's something that I've been working on for 15 years, trying to create that connective tissue to what Whitney said, is create a relationship opportunity and all the things it takes to do that with as many people as possible. And that's where we are right now in real estate, is that connective tissue to make agents the center of that relationship. For the first time ever, we moved away from, hey, buy a bunch of leads and hope for the best. Now we're in, creating relationships and content and making us the center of that transaction. It's the first time ever that we have a contract for both buyer agency and seller agency that we have to do. It's the first time that that's existed in real estate history. It's the best time to get, involved in this now. I believe this is the going to be the best time to actually really shine and as a real estate agent in this business. That's what I believe.
Tammy, in your organization. Oh,
Kevin,
go
I
ahead, Whitney.
I see something different with this technology than, we're talked about all the technology that's come through in the past. And I think the difference with this technology is, and we talked earlier about agents having to see results to jump in. And I think that very quickly with AI, they're starting to see results of how things are done faster and quicker and how it could affect their business. And because it is so fast to help them and they're seeing results, that they're all diving in faster than they ever have in any technology before. So I think that's where the difference is, the biggest difference between AI technology and any other technology we've ever seen before that's affected our business.
I think that one of the perfect examples is during COVID, right? People bought houses, pure emotion, absolute pure emotion, out of control. So people bought homes and waiving an appraisal, waiving a home inspection, not rational, not a good idea to do, paying $100,000, $200,000 over asking price, ridiculous things that happened. And after COVID, post-COVID, 2/3 of first-time home buyers that bought during COVID had buyer's remorse.
Yep.
Because they didn't have somebody in their corner giving them that advice. They let technology take control. And so they bought sight unseen. It was crazy. And crazier than that, 1/3 of baby boomers had buyer's remorse. Those are people with experience buying and selling homes. But we're all emotional when it comes to purchasing. But during that time, it was even worse. And it turns out that an awful lot of baby boomers don't like the sound of crickets, right? But I think the difference with AI is that they're not buying leads. They're not facing this big shiny object. I really feel like agents will feel like they have control. They have control of their business so that they can be that expert. They can be that person that asks the right effective questions so that they make sure that they point somebody in the right direction and that they have that make or break list with that individual, and they're dealing with that individual because they have the time, because they got all these things out of their way that really isn't in their main line of expertise.
It's so funny. I meet with a lot of agents face to face, and I'm sure you all have had this experience when you meet somebody who hasn't figured out AI yet, but wants to, and you actually get them to download the app, put it in their phone, and tell them to go use it and tell them how to use it for the next hour and come back to you. It's life-changing. And so I really think we kind of lowered the bar or barrier here for a lot of agents that aren't quite there yet, because they really don't even have to go to that expert in the office anymore. They really could. This is really a DIY experience. You can do it yourself and and get that wow moment, get that little win immediately. And that's kind of different too, right, Whitney? I mean, that's a different experience. Same thing, Tammy.
Yeah, absolutely. They get the like, oh my gosh, what is this? This does this. You get those moments with agents, and then you get the moments with the higher level agents that are like, yeah, this is a game changer for my leveling up. It creates the ability for agents to scale their business faster, quicker, right? Agents that wanted to create teams, agents that wanted to go from this level production to this level production, it was so hard, and there was a lot of steps and a lot of planning and execution that had to go to scaling up their business. Right now, it takes the ability to scale faster and quicker in an agent's business or a team's business into going from years to going from months to being able to increase their ability to scale. And that's amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing, and what's going to happen is the ones that dive in are going to scale their business quick, but you're going to have the mid-age that are going to be affected most by AI and their ability to increase their production, their activity. That group is going to be affected the most, and it's going to be exciting for our industry. Probably it's happening now, and it's going to continue to happen.
Tammy, that's forever been the hardest thing to do, reach that middle producer and make them more business. I mean, they've just kind of plateaued forever.
There's no doubt about it, but the difference of their quality of life going from $60,000 or $70,000 of gross to $100,000, the difference of quality of life is unbelievable. But think about it, even from the consumer standpoint, that person has more experience. They're doing more transactions. They're running into more issues, so that they have a lot more experience and a lot more expertise when they're there. I think all of us have witnessed somebody speaking about AI that gets on a stage, a grand stage, and gets on a stage, and they blow your mind, and you just can't even believe it, but you're so overwhelmed you can't do anything because it doesn't sound realistic to your life. So you listen to it, you get blown away, and then you walk away and you don't do anything. But when you can do something hands-on and really teach somebody how to go about doing it, and they have control of it themselves, and now they can see how they can still have a quality of life and produce more income, it's even going to raise the bar for what real estate agents are thought of.
Right. And Brian, when you give them an ecosystem, when you get them an all-in-one, this is what you can do. You don't have disparate things. I mean, that's the magic of AI, right? And especially agentic AI, where it kind of brings everything together. So you're not having to train on every little thing and figure out, how many different apps I have to enter things into to get the same result.
Yeah, no, exactly. What it is about that operating system as opposed to a CRM. A CRM is really by definition where you store your leads, and they get cold and they just kind of fuddle around there. What we really want to create is that operating system that's kind of universal. So think of your AI as your operating system, like Lofty, it could be other people that are doing things, but ultimately as an agent, I want to log in. I might have a website over here, but I want my operating system to connect. We're not just one thing. We want we want to work with everybody's system and have everything stitched together, so that you have no reason that agents shouldn't be involved in working in this operating system. And everything, there's not one all-in-one everything. It's kind of like you have a baseline AI, agentic AI, that's kind of operating through all the different APIs that you have. And so it's stitching everything together into one operating opportunity for agents to run their business. And I think what Tammy and Whitney and all the conversation I'm having from all brokers is this 90-10 thing. We've all heard it, right? 10% of the deals done by 90%. We need to extend down. If in the way the real estate world is going, it's not going to be a bunch of full-time agents. You're going to have part-time agents that want to run 10 transactions a year. You're going to have influencers that are social media influencers who want to connect and have an AI do that. So what we really want to do is extend the masses to do that extra 5 to 10 transactions per year. That is the biggest impact that the operators, to reach all agents with the ability to increase. I love what Tammy said and what Whitney said. It's to reach the masses of agents. To do that extra 5, 6 transactions per year has more of an impact to the real estate world and the consumers than anything else we can do. And I think agentic AI is going to hit a home run to broaden the gap between the 10 to 90 rule and get it more like, 70, 30, 60, 40. I really do. And that's what I'm passionate about.
Do you
Brian,
see that too, Whitney?
Yeah, I know. So I also, from a brokerage standpoint, widening that gap. For brokerages, going from agents that on day one to getting them productive is a hefty investment in time, energy, money. And for a brokerage side, getting them from day one to getting them their first deal to getting them 3 deals is where, as a brokerage, you could really utilize the AI. And that's where I see, Brian, being able to expand that masses, because we have the biggest fallout in our industry are new people that come in that are not successful and then quickly leave the business, where you might have an opportunity to get them up and running faster, quicker, to get them producing. And, brokerages right now really have to look at their training, in-house training. How are they utilizing training? Are they utilizing AI in training? One of the biggest things is we talk about the gap between learning and execution. Agents don't like to do things like role play. Agents, they practice when they're in front of the client and customer. And that's just the way it is. And there's an opportunity with AI to do simple things like role play in a very safe, non-judgmental environment where they could all day long role play with an AI to get their listing presentations down, their buyer presentations down. And then when they go on their first presentation, they nail it instead of fumbling through it 5 or 10 times before, nailing the contract. So I think brokerages have to open up their minds and look at every part of their business and say, where can I implement AI in order to make our business more efficient and more cost effective? Because on the brokerage side, our margins are getting smaller every single day. So we have to figure out new ways in order to make our business more affordable, more productive, and making sure that we're always looking at new ways to either increase revenue or decrease costs.
Tammy?
It's my favorite statement to say of all times, I think, when you're talking to somebody that's potentially joining a company. If I can show you how to make more money in less time and have a better quality of life, should we chat? And I think that this is what this is going to be able to do, is help leverage that field so that if people are embracing it, they're going to be able to get out of the gate. But even people that are lower producers to mid-range producers, you can get them to literally activate so that they can produce more. And the fewer mistakes that are made out in the field, the better off it is for the whole entire industry. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I used to write feature story every year for California Real Estate Magazine, and I got to interview the top producers of the year in California, which you can imagine are pretty high-end people. The saddest thing I learned from that experience is I had more than one. I had several say, I was a great agent, but a lousy dad. Or a great mom, a great agent, but not as great as mom as I'd like to be, because that balance of life, quality of life and work, and you both leaned into it a little bit, both Whitney and Tammy. Some agents, that's a really valuable thing, time. And AI could be the thing that helps unlock that, not just more productivity and more deals, but also, maybe I can have lunch tomorrow. And I think for agents who are out there, I'm curious what your thought is on the idea of how valuable that is in today's society, about that life balance of agents who are in a 24/7 business. At least that's viewed by their clients that way. Tammy?
Oh, I wasn't sure who you were asking.
Both you
I
and
think,
Whitney, because you both talked about the balance of life.
well, and I think that it is that whole entire work-life balance is so important for everybody. You know, I've been talking to neuroscientists lately. That's a story for a different day. And very curious about how people think and why people think the way they think and where people's mindsets are at. And they basically stated that, and we've witnessed an awful lot of apathy in the real estate industry over the last couple of years, right? The market shift, the election, the lawsuits, people that didn't have to do very much during COVID, and now all of a sudden they have to ramp back up again. There's all those things, but people's mindset all over the world is in the worst place it's been since World War One, the end of World War One. At the end of World War One, there was no communication. It took 6 weeks for mail to get to somebody, right? And they didn't know what was going on. And there was that fear of not knowing what was going on. And I think part of this is that, but it's also that distraction. They're getting too many things thrown at them from all over the place. And so they don't know where to start. And mindset is more important than anything else. And I really do think that this is something that could help them to have some time, have some space so that they can get into a better mindset and manage their time. It's the most valuable asset we have.
Whitney?
Absolutely. You know, and you look at, and I'm sure Tammy's experienced it. And just like you said, Kevin, we've all experienced agents that are running so fast and they're just not enough hours in their day. And they're losing that balance of life. And when that becomes, you know, they might be making more money, but at what cost? And I really think that when we have as brokers to help them or to figure out how to help them create that balance as a brokerage, we become invaluable to them. And that creates that retention as a brokerage. And we also have to value their lives, their families at times, because we're their business partners. They're, you know, we have to make sure they're as healthy, well-rounded all the time in order to be successful, because that's what a good business partner does. And, you know, I think one of the things we do is not have too many tools, AI tools out there, because too many tools, you don't utilize them, you don't implement them. So you have to figure out as us as brokers, figure out what are the best tools out there. What are the one, what are the two, not the 10, the 5 for them all to implement. It's what are the 1 or 2 that are going to be the best for them, and how can they implement it fast and quickly.
Well, Brian, you have the cheat code for time. So I think it's really important to emphasize to the agents and brokers out there the time proposition that you're advocating right now.
Yeah, it's you know, we're segmenting into the real problem. And I used to think when I was coaching agents 20 years ago, and all through my technology and delivering these things over the years, you know, is this idea of time, money, and knowledge. And at the end of the day, it's like planning a wedding almost for buying a house. You have all these things agents have to do, and they have to be everything to everybody, and it's just overwhelming. So what AI is doing today in Lofty AOS, I love this picture of all the little people, and those are the agents that you're deploying in your business. And it really is about saving you time, doing the things that you need to do to create time so you have that family time, that relationship time. AI has really 3 basic principles, I think, that are important to think and keep it simple in the message. One is it creates time for you, so you can do everything that Tammy and Whitney have said. It's organize your business and your life in a way that allows you to have that freedom to have time with your children, have time to do these things, because it's giving you time back, or time to do more money, right? We never know. Everybody's different, but we need more time in our day to do things. So how can AI and the different AI agents give you that time back? The second thing everybody talked about is, how can this agent save me money? If I have to go out and save money through hiring a marketing person, maybe AI allows me to do all of that. We have developers. We're cutting our development costs because we have AI that basically allows us to develop product at a much lower bandwidth. Same thing for them as agents. It allows you to give you that opportunity that way and save you money or make you more money. And the last thing your AI agents need to do is give you knowledge. I think everybody here has talked about knowledge. How do I go and find out where I go and what to do? Your AI agent gives you that knowledge that you can get instant feedback. Hey, I said this to the lead. Should I say it differently? Your AI is talking to you, agent, is asking you questions about how they can better serve your business. And that's what Lofty AOS is about, but that's what Agentic AI is about. It's about hiring your workforce to go to work for you. And that's what this is all about for Lofty in the future.
One quick takeaway from each of you that you'd like to share. If there's one thing you could say to your fellow organizational head or broker.
I would say that the most important thing is to have an action plan. Book off 4 hours once a month, and it doesn't matter whether you're a broker or an agent or a manager. Work on your business, not in it. Work on your life, not in it. Plan in advance so you can maximize every single moment, and you can maximize what it is you're going to need so that you're utilizing it, and you'll find yourself so much more effective.
I love the ending point. So let's get back. I love that start, and let's go back to that. It was great. The passing notes. And Whitney, you paused there again.
Oh yeah, my takeaway was a quick one. It's not the tool that determines the outcome; it's leadership around it. So as a leader, make sure that you are doing everything that you can to help your agents and your partners be more effective, more efficient, and be more productive. And you'll have success.
Brian?
My parting words for everybody and all the brokers listening is honest two things, and it's very simple. Enjoy your family, enjoy your life, make your real estate business a part of an extension of that. And then number two, have fun. We can have fun with AI in these agents. It's not intimidating. I always want to have fun. And so one other parting point is you can enjoy this experience, because I can tell you, I've never had more fun working with AI in real estate. I've had more fun doing that in my business than ever before in real estate. So I hope my parting words is enjoy your business and have fun.
So I think, that's great. AI is fun. And I think that's really the truth. And I do think that the only piece I would add, to go back to what I said before, I really think every broker owner, every franchise executive needs to use AI every single day in their work and in their play. And I think they'll discover how fun it really can be and be so much better a leader because they understand AI. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Whitney. You guys are awesome. This was absolutely fantastic.
Guys.
Love the opportunity.
Thank you.